You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I never thought one of my siblings would become rich and famous and I would still be in the trench.
Moon type of blessing. That's how it started. One emotional statement, and suddenly the internet was in full meltdown. GloRilla's own sister began speaking out, throwing shade, hinting at money problems, and even claiming she's doing better than the rap star herself. So, what really happened behind the scenes? The rise of GloRilla before we dive into all this wild, messy, absolutely chaotic drama that's been dominating every timeline on every platform for the past week and a half. We have to rewind. We need to go all the way back to the beginning and really break down where GloRilla came from, what she was dealing with growing up, and exactly how she went from having virtually nothing to becoming one of the hottest names in rap today. Because without that backstory, without understanding the grind, the struggle, the come-up, none of this tension between her and her sister lands the way it's supposed to. So let's run it back to Memphis, specifically a pocket on the west side, tucked inside Fraser, which sits up in North Memphis. That's where Gloria Hallelujah Woods, the woman the world now knows as GloRilla, was born on July 28, 1999. And look, she was not born into a cushy situation where the bills were paid and everybody was eating good. Not even close. She was the 8th of 10 children, all from the same mother and father. 10 kids packed into one house, all just trying to survive each day without everything falling apart. Real hood struggles, the kind that either break you completely or force you to become something the world isn't prepared for. Now her sister, Victoria, who goes by Scarface Woods in the streets, recently sat down for an interview and painted a picture of their childhood that was straight up gut-wrenching. She described how something as simple as a trip to McDonald's felt like hitting the lottery, like it was a once-in-a-blue-moon blessing.
Yeah, growing up, it was a struggle. I didn't start living life till I got to adulthood.
And she wasn't exaggerating when she said that. She doubled down and explained that even something as small as grabbing a single piece of candy from the corner store felt like a luxury back then. That's how tight money was. That's how limited their options were. Little things most kids take for granted felt huge in that household.
Getting something out the store was a privilege to us. Like I'm talking about picking up some candy or something like that.
You hear that? A piece of candy was a privilege. That one detail tells you everything about what those kids were living through. Victoria also talked about their father working at the post office, grinding day in and day out, a steady job that, on paper, should have been enough to keep a household afloat. But when you've got 10 mouths to feed, that paycheck gets stretched thinner than a dollar store trash bag. She said he constantly had to borrow money from their neighbor, Mr. Raymond, just to keep the lights on and food in the house. And eventually, the neighbor started charging interest on every single dollar.
It became a repeated cycle. So Mr. Raymond used to be like, all right, now, you working at the post office.
So their dad was basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, borrowing $20 and somehow owing back $40, just trying to keep the lights on and food in the fridge. Victoria said she used to look around the house completely confused, thinking, how are we struggling this bad when daddy has a full-time job? She honestly believed he must have been making $3 an hour based on how tight things were. But here's the part that makes this whole situation so layered, so complicated, and so emotional. Even through all that poverty, through the pain, and the nights they went to bed hungry, those kids had each other. They had shared memories. They had moments where they were laughing, cracking jokes, clowning around, even while their stomachs were growling.
With the memories of us struggling, but through the struggle, we used to make each other laugh, get mad at each other.
That bond, that ride-or-die connection forged through shared suffering, is exactly why this current fallout hits so differently. Because at one point, all they had was each other. That was it. That was the entire squad. Growing up in that environment, GloRilla found her escape through music. She started out singing in her church choir before a cousin caught her freestyling one day and basically told her to stop playing and take rap seriously. So she locked in. At just 16 years old, she started writing and recording, pulling inspiration from heavyweights like Chief Keef, Soulja Boy, and Lil Wayne. She dropped her first mixtape, Most Likely Up Next, in 2019, then followed it up with an EP titled P Status in 2020. Then she followed up with singles like You Ain't West Side Baby in 2021. But through all that early grind, she was still broke. She was still working regular jobs just to survive, including pulling shifts at Checkers, the fast food spot, just to keep some money in her pocket while chasing the dream. Then in April 2022, everything changed. GloRilla linked up with producer Hicked and dropped a track called FNF, Let's Go. And that record went absolutely nuclear on TikTok. The hashtag FNF challenge had everybody and their mama doing the dance. The song cracked the top 50 on the Billboard Hot 100 and racked up nearly 100 million views on YouTube. Victoria later said she remembers the exact moment she knew her sister was about to blow. The second Lil Baby posted the song on his Instagram story. She knew it was a wrap.
I knew when Lil Baby shared it, she was finna blow. Now, it was getting a little clout. You know, a lot of folks get clout, you know what I'm saying, on Facebook.
And she was absolutely right. By July 2022, GloRilla had signed with Collective Music Group, founded by Yo Gotti, becoming the label's first female artist. She reportedly received a $500,000 signing bonus, cash, on a private jet. That's a different level of bag secured. She followed it up with Tomorrow 2 featuring Cardi B, which cracked the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. That same year, she won the BET Award for Best New Hip Hop Artist and earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards. She was also selected for the XXL freshman class of 2023. In October 2024, she dropped her album GloRilla's, which debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 and featured artists like Megan Thee Stallion. The project eventually surpassed 1 million units in total sales. She was named one of the Associated Press's Breakthrough Entertainers of 2024 and even made an appearance at the White House. By early 2026, her estimated net worth was between $2 and $3 million. She was fully up. Victoria admitted that when all of this first started happening, she was genuinely proud. She said it felt like GloRilla had made it out for the entire family.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought one of my siblings would become rich and famous and I would still be in the trenches.
And that right there, that single line was the seed that grew into everything that followed. Because while GloRilla's star kept rising month after month, Victoria says the family back in Memphis was still in the trenches, still broke, still struggling, still surviving off prayers and pocket change. And according to her, still being left on read by the one person who had the money and the power to change everything. Victoria goes public. By the time February 2026 rolled around, Victoria said she had been holding in that frustration for 4 straight years. For years of watching her sister level up and secure bigger and bigger bags. 4 years of scrolling through Instagram and seeing GloRilla posing with designer handbags, luxury cars, and celebrity friends. Meanwhile, Victoria says she was still in Memphis, clocking into regular jobs, still getting recognized in public by strangers who knew exactly who she was, and asking why GloRilla's own sister was still punching a time clock if her sibling was supposedly a millionaire. That tension, that buildup, that quiet resentment, that's what finally spilled over and pushed everything into the public spotlight.
And they're like, why you working at you GloRilla's sister?
Right, burnt the spot up.
And according to Victoria, this wasn't about clout. It wasn't about getting famous off her sister's name. And it definitely wasn't about tearing GloRilla down just for the sake of it. She says she simply hit her boiling point. She'd had enough. She jumped on Facebook and posted a status saying she was about to expose everybody's favorite rapper. From that moment on, it was pure chaos across the internet. Victoria went live and put GloRilla on full blast, accusing her of financially neglecting the family despite allegedly sitting on millions. She claimed GloRilla hadn't given the family a single dollar in 4 years. She said their mother was still working shifts at FedEx just to keep the lights on, and that siblings back home were still struggling with basics like rent and groceries. She made a point of calling out what she saw as hypocrisy, saying GloRilla constantly talks in interviews about how rough their upbringing was, using those struggle stories to shape her public image, but then allegedly turning around and ghosting the very people who lived through it with her. Then, on February 5th, 2026, Victoria appeared on TMZ and repeated everything on camera for the entire world to see. And what she said next had the interviewers exchanging serious side eyes.
Hey, yeah, she got an obligation to share her well. We sat here, we struggled together. Took baths and bottles of water, red roaches, all.
Victoria made it crystal clear. In her eyes, GloRilla owed the family. Period. Point blank. No arguments, no debate. And when TMZ asked her straight up how much money it would take to end the whole situation, her answer left everyone completely stunned.
She can get all of her like $2,500 a piece.
How much?
25.
You heard that right. $2,500 per sibling. That's it. The TMZ host even said he thought GloRilla would jump at that number because for someone with her kind of money, that's nothing. But Victoria wasn't finished. She went straight for GloRilla's entire public persona, calling her image fake. She said GloRilla acts like an angel online for the fans, but is a straight-up demon behind closed doors with her own family. Victoria also attacked GloRilla's story about retiring their dad and gifting him a Jaguar, claiming the car wasn't even new and the house she got him was the smallest one on the block. GloRilla wasn't about to let that slide. She went live on Instagram and came back swinging, posting receipts and screenshots of text messages from their mother thanking her for supporting the family financially. She told Victoria straight up to keep the family out of it and stop dragging her name through the dirt for clout. But the real fire ignited on February 9th, when GloRilla went live on Facebook and pulled their actual parents into the conversation. Their mom got on the line and broke the situation down from her perspective. She explained that part of Victoria's anger came from the fact that GloRilla couldn't bail her out of jail at one point, and that Victoria only learned about the FedEx job because of a misunderstanding involving their autistic brother.
Victoria is upset with me because, one, I couldn't give her any money, and she just found out that I was working at FedEx.
Their mom also clarified that she was only working 2 to 3 hours at FedEx, not because she was struggling, but because she wanted to go with their autistic brother, who wanted to experience what having a job felt like. Then she dropped a bombshell that flipped the entire narrative. She admitted GloRilla had already retired her, and she was low-key scared to tell Victoria that she had quietly gone back to work those few hours.
And I told you, I said, Gloria, no, I don't. It was after a while, I was scared to tell, because she retired me. She did.
Mama went on to say GloRilla had blessed her with a car she always dreamed of, had been covering her rent every single month, and had taken her on trips across the country that she never imagined she would go on. Then GloRilla got their dad on FaceTime, and he co-signed everything their mom said, no hesitation. But GloRilla didn't stop there. She wasn't just proving she had taken care of their parents, she also started exposing Victoria's own dirty laundry. She alleged that Victoria had escaped from a mental institution called Lakeside and had to be tracked down and returned by force. She also brought up a 2015 incident where Victoria allegedly pulled a gun on her in a hotel room when GloRilla was only 15, reportedly leading to Victoria being charged with domestic assault.
Well, I don't know, I was a minor, so half of it ain't public record. I ain't gonna talk about how you got me sent to jail for a whole week.
GloRilla made it crystal clear that she had distanced herself from certain siblings long before the money and fame ever came into play, and that her wealth had nothing to do with why she cut ties.
My siblings that I don't with, they know why I don't with them. Me getting money don't make it no different.
When Victoria was asked about the gun allegation during her sit-down with Judd, she completely denied that the incident ever happened.
Never happened.
Okay, that never happened. Okay, cool.
She also dismissed the Lakeside claims, asking how anyone in their right mind could escape a fully secured psychiatric facility.
Last time I checked, Lakeside had plenty of security. And you can't just escape Lakeside.
The internet is watching this unfold in real time, picking sides and going back and forth like a heavyweight title fight. Tory lands, the 200K flex, and the bigger picture. Now, just when everyone thought the situation had reached peak crazy, and just when people thought there was no way this drama could get any wilder, the story took a plot twist nobody saw coming. Because out of everyone on the entire planet who could have inserted themselves into this family feud, the very last person anyone expected to step in was a guy literally locked up behind bars in a California prison serving a decade. We're talking about Tory Lanez, the rapper currently sitting on a 10-year bid for the 2020 shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Somehow, from inside a prison cell, Tory caught wind of Victoria's whole situation, saw her publicly asking her millionaire sister for just $2,500. He decided to slide her the cash himself. Victoria posted a screenshot of a DM from Lena's Instagram where he basically told her, "If you're really stressed and tripping over $2,500, I'll send it to you, gang. I know how it feels to not have while needing it. I hope God blesses you." Let that sink in for a second. A fully incarcerated rapper who caught a case for shooting another female rapper is now sending money to the sister of a completely different female rapper who says she's being left out. Fam, you cannot make this stuff up. It's crazier than any reality show on TV. And of course, the internet went absolutely wild. Some people were giving Lions props for looking out, while others pointed out the layers of irony given his situation with Megan Thee Stallion, who happens to be one of GloRilla's biggest collaborators and close friends. But Victoria wasn't even close to done making noise. Not even a little, because shortly after Tory's money drop hit the blogs, Victoria jumped back on social media with a claim that had everybody was doing a double take. She said that in just 1 week, she had pulled in $200,000 from promos, interviews, and various opportunities flooding in because of all the viral attention. She posted that her network would be one mouse in the next 5 weeks and warned that her price is going up, telling people to slide into her DMs for bookings and collaborations. Now, while Shorty never directly said, "I got more bread than GloRilla," the message was crystal clear. Here was a woman who literally just days earlier had been on national TV asking her sister for $2,500. Now claiming she made $200,000 in a single week, if those numbers were legit. And that's a big if we have to consider. Then she was stacking money at a pace that could have her catching up to, or even surpassing her sister's income in no time. The comment section under that post was pure chaos. Total pandemonium. People were coming for her from every angle. Some were writing things like, "She'll be broke tomorrow. SMH." Others flipped the whole story on her, asking, "So, is she going to split it 8 ways with the other siblings?" Because according to her logic, they're entitled to her money. That's bars right there, since it's the exact same reasoning Victoria used against GloRilla, now being thrown back at her. Critics called it straight clout chasing and suggested the $200,000 figure was probably inflated, or might even include Tory Lanez $2,500 donation in the total. When Victoria sat down with DJ UTV for a deeper, more real conversation about everything that happened, the interviewer asked her point-blank how she felt now that she had said it all, and the whole world was watching. Her answer was surprisingly raw and emotional, a side of her most people hadn't seen through all the viral rants.
I wish you didn't have to come to this.
Okay.
I wish that we could have sat down and actually talked.
That moment hit different because beneath all the Facebook Lives, all the TMZ interviews, all the social media flexing about getting the bag, there was a woman who was genuinely in her feelings. She was hurting. She said she wished none of this had ever gone public, and that she would have preferred to just pull up on her sister face to face and work it out like family is supposed to.
I wish that she could see how I feel. But if that would have, I didn't want it to get to this. Do I regret it? Half yeah and half no.
Half yes, half no. That's about as real and conflicted as a person can get. And when the interviewer asked her the million-dollar question, what would it take for her and GloRilla to squash this beef and the drama and just be sisters again, Victoria went completely silent.
What do you think would need to take place for you and your sister to be able to hug again?
That's a question I can't even answer.
She couldn't even find the words. And that silence was louder than every rant she had posted, every interview she had done, and every live she had gone on. It said more than anything she could have spoken into that microphone. Now, the broader reaction to this entire saga has been split right down the middle. And it sparked a conversation far bigger than just these two siblings going at it. Essence dropped a full op-ed breaking down what they called the high cost of making it, digging into the question of how much successful people really owe their relatives, and shining a light on the very real risk of family members trying to finesse money from someone else's grind. The article highlighted the absurdity of the whole situation, that this entire public meltdown, all the smoke, all the drama keeping Black America glued to their screens, was fundamentally over $2,500. That forced people to sit with some uncomfortable questions. If your sibling blew up and started making serious money, would you feel like you were owed a cut? And if you were the one who made it out, would you feel obligated to support every single relative, no matter how they treated you? GloRilla's supporters have pointed to all the documented evidence of her generosity as proof that she already did more than enough for the family. She retired both of her parents. She pays their bills every month. She got her mom that dream car. She bought her red bottoms for Christmas. She's taken her people on trips they never thought they'd take in a million years. Her own dad said it himself on that live. She's gone above and beyond what anyone could ask. But Victoria's supporters argue that when you grow up in a house with 10 kids who all struggled together, roaches, rats, empty fridges, and hand-me-down everything, and you're the one who makes it out and gets to the bag, there's a moral obligation to reach back and lift your people up. They point out that GloRilla uses those same struggle stories in her music and interviews to build her entire brand. And if she can get paid from those stories, then the people who actually lived through them with her deserve a piece of the pie. Victoria herself pushed back hard on anyone trying to call her a clout chaser, pointing out that she sat on her hands for a full 4 years before saying a single word to the public.
Been my sister for 30 years, 4 years on. I could have been got the clout if I wanted it. I could have been posted the messages my mama had did and humiliated her.
And when the interviewer asked her what the biggest misconception about her was throughout this whole situation, she didn't even blink.
I would say like they saying I'm seeking clout.
Right. Okay.
And like I'm just humiliating the family.
She stands by everything she said and insists every word was factual. Her position is simple. If the truth is embarrassing, maybe the problem isn't with the person speaking it, but with what actually happened in the first place. As of mid-February 2026, there has been zero reconciliation between the two sisters. GloRilla seems fully focused on her career, staying locked in on tours and endorsement deals. Meanwhile, Victoria has pivoted hard toward building her own brand off this viral moment, booking interviews, charging for appearances, and trying to turn the chaos into a runway. Whether that $200,000 claim was real or exaggerated, one thing is clear: Victoria's visibility has skyrocketed, even if it came at the cost of burning bridges with her sister and possibly her entire family. And at the end of the day, that might be the most heartbreaking part of this entire story. Two sisters who grew up laughing together on empty stomachs, who survived the trenches side by side when all they had was each other, who once rode for one another through the worst times, and now can't even be in the same room without it turning into World War III. The Just interviewer said something at the end of his conversation with Victoria that stuck with many people. He told her that their mom didn't have all those kids for no reason, and maybe it took 26 or 30 years for that reason to start revealing itself. But right now, in this moment, it feels like the Woods family is more fractured than ever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click on one of the boxes on your screen to watch more similar content.